Hey, this is Nicolosi. As mentioned in my previous video, Mela 7.1 is coming soon, and it introduces Collection 5, bringing some new modules to Mela. In this video, we're going to focus on the new Slew and Mod Oscilloscope modules. Okay, let's get into it. I'm running Mela on my Mac in standalone mode, and let me describe a simple FM preset I created for this demo. I'll collapse the first lane because it's not doing anything at the moment. And let's focus on the second lane. We have MIDI in to receive MIDI messages, then it's converted into a polyphonic signal. Two main modules here are these FM operators. First one is modulating the second one, but there is also feedback. The output of the second operator is fed back into the input of the first one. And then we have this pitch ratio. Pitch of the second operator is 9 times of the first one. There's a pitch ramp module to create a slight detune over 10 seconds. And there is another one here with a short interval to give a thick attack to the sound. Then we have amp envelope, and it's also modulating FM parameters. Then we have reverb, volume, and then new meter module. You will notice it no longer collapses. It's simplified and takes up much smaller space, but you can drag it around as always. And let me play a couple of notes with my MIDI controller to hear what this sounds like. Okay, let me expand the first line here. And at the moment it's not doing anything. And let's focus on the Mod Oscilloscope module. You're probably well aware that the LFO and random modules have built-in oscilloscopes. If you adjust the parameters, you'll see it updates. So it's super useful when you want to visualize the modulation signal. But other modulators don't have this feature. And you may want to visualize what the modulator's modulation signal looks like. So in this case, let's say we want to see what amp envelope's modulation signal looks like. Before I do that, let me explain what this parameter does here. If I change the value of the offset parameter, the changes will be graphed here. So as I increase it, it went up 100% and then went back down. And obviously, if I modulate this, it will also graph that. And that's basically how it works. We're going to modulate that with our amp envelope set to 100%. And I'm going to play a few notes and we'll see the shape. And if I change the attack amount, we'll be able to visualize the changes. Okay, let's put it back and let's remove this modulation. Okay, next, what I want to do is that remove this amp envelope and instead insert a level module, set it to 0. And instead of using amp envelope module, which I'll move here, I want to modulate this level parameter to create an amp envelope. This amp envelope module will still continue to modulate the parameters. However, it's no longer controlling the level here. I have MIDI source here, and I will use it to modulate the level parameter. And I have it set to no tone of gate. What that means is that when it receives no tone, it will jump to non-zero value corresponding to the velocity of the note. And when I release it, it will jump back down to 0. And what I'll also do, I'll modulate our Mod Oscilloscope so we can visualize our signal. Okay, let me play a few notes. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting a square wave because it jumps up instantly when it receives a no tone, and when it's released, it jumps back down. And the height was determined by the velocity of the notes. But I want to smooth out these jumps. So I have the smooth parameter, and I can set it to, say, 70 milliseconds. And now you can see the sound goes to its maximum value and drops back down much more smoothly. But I may want to have more control over attack and release time. And that's where Slew module comes in. So let me disable modulation here. Instead, I'll use Slew is a modulator, And what I'll do is I'll modulate Mod Oscilloscope. And it will let us visualize the modulation signal it's generating. Its modulation signal is determined by the value of this parameter. So if I set it to 100%, it ramped up to 100% slowly. That's because rise is set to 3 seconds. And if I set it to 0, again, it linearly ramps down to 0. So I can adjust this parameter. I can set it to 1 second. And it will rise much faster. And if I set it to 50% here, it will take half a second. Rise sets the time it takes to go from 0 to 100%, and fall sets the time it takes to go from 100% to 0%. And we also have the curve here, and if I set it to 100%, the ramp becomes exponential. Let me show you. And if I set to any other value, it's a linear combination of the two. As you can see, we can smooth out our curves using the Slew module. So I'll set it back to 100% here, and I'll set the smooth back to 0. And what I'll do, I'll modulate the value parameter here, say to 100%, set this back down to 0. And I'll modulate the level parameter using Slew. Now, what will happen is that when we receive a note tone, it will jump to a non-zero value, and it will rise using 1 second curve, and then when I release note, it will take 3 seconds to fall back down to 0. Let me show you. Of course, we can adjust these curves. We can make it up to 60 seconds if we wanted to. So what we did here is that we used the MIDI source and Slew to create a custom envelope generator. And this is just one example of how you can use the Slew module. For example, I can insert a simple LFO. Let's pick random glide. And what we're going to do is we're going to modulate the value parameter using simple LFO. But before we do that, let's decrease number of voices to 1. Otherwise, it will be too loud. It will try to play all 4 notes at the same time. So let's get it to play just a single note. And I'll set this to 50%. Let's bypass it for now. Let's bypass, turn off the output for now. So what I'll do, I'll set this to 50% because this is a bipolar signal, and let's modulate it to 100%. And now we have this curve. So I'll decrease fall to make it something really quick and ramp up slowly. And let's see what this sounds like. A simple LFO's random glide linearly glides between different values, and with Slew we were able to smooth out those changes. Okay, that's all for now. In this video I've demonstrated uses of the Slew and Mod Oscilloscope modules, which are part of collection 5, coming soon to Mela 7.1. Thank you, see you next time.